Hello everyone and welcome to Takagi-san Season 3 First Impressions Episode 4. The show with a name that isn't nearly as smart as the people who watch it. Seriously, I have been absolutely blown away by some of the comments left on these videos. The amount of effort put into these theories and deep analytical observations are staggering. I love it, please keep it up. Real talk again, episode 4 was not as good as episode 3. However, thanks to the aforementioned observations by my audience, I certainly picked up on more subtle details that add more spice to the show and potentially hint at what this season is trying to achieve. First and foremost, we have an adaptation of the manga's 95th chapter, Uniform Change. Fun fact, the source material chapter was preceded by an announcement that the show was getting a second season. Oh man, that takes me back. Uniform Change is nothing out of the ordinary. It follows the manga closely and doesn't progress the story in any meaningful way. However, this story does contain the episodal flashback. Rymation, the same guy whose points I stole to make the trailer breakdown video, pointed out that every episode has had at least one flashback to a previous season. Episode 1 flashback to Summer Festival, Episode 2 flashback to Marathon, Episode 3 had Umbrella, and now Episode 4 has Nurse's Office. I'm not going to claim that all of these flashbacks serve a uniform purpose. The flashbacks for Marathon and Nurse's Office are clearly contextual, while the Summer Festival and Umbrella flashbacks were more emotional. Even the OP references the Season 1 OP with this shot of Angel Road on Shorishima Island, where the story takes place. But why are they doing this? Well, if I were to hazard a biased assumption, I would guess that the show is invoking the older stories to make us feel nostalgic for and aware of where these characters started and how far they have come. I dare say Season 3 might very well be the last, and these flashbacks might be getting us emotionally prepared for that. Speaking of familiarity, did anyone else find the Bplot segment oddly familiar? Well, you're not the only one. This story is eerily similar to a Bplot trio story in Season 1. There are some differences, like Sane doesn't jump the gun in this story, nor does Yukari only exist to repeat the same phrase. But if you're going to call back to a Bplot trio story, at least make it one of the better ones. I'd give some examples right about now, but putting Bplot story and better together just caused my brain to stutter. We then move on to an adaptation of the manga's 125th chapter, Bento. And this is a story I like quite a lot, because it's got everything I want in a general story. But first, if you weren't sure who Nishikata was looking for after Takeo and Kimura were out of the picture, apparently this guy's name is Sakurai. You know him from Critical Hit, that one shot from Summer Festival, and he can be seen in the dream shot here. First thing I love about this story is that it has Takagi doing what she thinks is right to make Nishikata happy, namely offering to have lunch with him. We have your typical teasing, Nishikata's reaction to which could honestly become a meme. A competition that goes wrong, this time because Nishikata just didn't think the possibilities through and not due to any interference. But then we get to the punishment. Nishikata briefly wonders if Takagi is trying to feed him, and to his credit, he actually leans in for it. Sure, he's embarrassed and doing what he thinks he must for a penalty, but if you really think Season 1 Nishikata would go for this, even under those circumstances, I've got some news for you. But what I love most about this segment is that Nishikata actually admits, out loud, that he had more fun eating with Takagi than he would have had by himself, and agrees to have lunch with her again sometime. I love this. I love that Nishikata can now admit things that embarrass him and give credit where credit is due. Next, we get an adaptation of the manga's 98th chapter, UFO. I don't really have anything to say about what this story brings to the show overall, because other than Takagi helping Nishikata get a UFO shot, there isn't really much to get into. But I do want to bring one thing up. What the hell is this? Alien Nishikata gets to be a squiddy boy, but Alien Takagi is just Takagi in a two-piece. Credit where credit is due, I know this is a reference to a show called Urusei Yatsura, or at least I did after Discord user Lennox pointed it out. And the outfit they have Takagi in is much less revealing. But was it really necessary to dress up the child in a sexy alien costume? Also, I guess this means that aliens are canon now? I mean, vampires are technically canon too, so gold star to anyone who can tell me how I came to that conclusion. I wonder if there's a vague Toradora reference here in seeing a UFO, but I'll leave the potential meanings of that for the proper analysis. Also, Takagi's face after seeing the UFO? Priceless. Last but not least, we get an adaptation of the manga's 109th chapter, Night. Night is about what I've come to expect from the last story of a Season 3 episode. That is to say, it does something to shake up the status quo or showcase some character development. We start with the idea that Nishikata is disappointed not to run into Takagi at the bathhouse. We've always known that he enjoys spending time with her, but I don't recall a time that he has been so willing to admit that to himself, even if he does take it back later. The story has some small details, like Takagi's hair being done up moto style, even though it looked that way in the source material. The fact that Nishikata is able to admit to himself that he is in fact blushing, despite the fact that he would normally deny it outright. Or the fact that they removed the source material line about this being their first time talking at night, to maintain anime continuity. But the story ends with what is arguably the point of this meeting. By offering to walk Takagi home, Nishikata shows his care for her. And the fact that he doesn't even realize he's just offered something embarrassing shows how instinctual this care is. Now, we've known since Season 2, Episode 1 that Nishikata has an instinctual desire to keep Takagi safe. But this is the first time that desire has been showcased in a purely social scenario, let alone one with far less urgency. Even though we've known about this part of his character for a while, this moment shows us Nishikata's caring nature from an angle we have not seen yet. And these are the moments I watch the show for. That's it for this first impressions video. I'd like to thank my patrons: Orion Tran, Lars Espen, Data52, Jaman5, Lemon Shark, Pixcalibur, Alberto Cruz, Tyler Bennett, Tenka, Jeremy Pashik, Fireclaw, Soren, Christopher Wang, Will, and Jazoiwa. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.